As far as the roller bearings in the lifters, we have three configurations we offer. The base configuration is a needle roller, needles running on the axle. The first step up from that, we have the copper alloy bushing, which is it's a copper alloy. People refer to it as the bronze bushing. It's been around for decades, and probably prior to that. It's press fit into the wheel, so it's the wheel and the bushing turn as a unit, riding on the axle with a wedge of high pressure oil that's delivered to that bearing surface.
Right. So that's not actually bronze like with its typical copper tin. It's more complicated than that.
It's a high performance alloy,
but designed for lubricity.
Yes. The alloy we use is quite hard. We probably run more press fit than most people do in installing the bushing. So one of the downsides of a bushing is that on this particular style of bronze is if you abuse the lifter too much, by having excess lash or floating a valve, you can sometimes cause that press fit to loosen, and the bushing will shimmy its way out of the wheel and pin the wheel to the other side. It'll start dragging, and eventually it'll lock up and not be good for the system. So the step up from that, then we have a tool steel bushing. This is something I developed about 10 years ago. So it's been around for quite a while. Again, it's a through-hardened tool steel bushing. We apply a DLC coating to the OD of the bushing. The DLC is diamond-like carbon. Back in the day, when I first started playing with this, we called it diamond-like coating, but now it's referred to as diamond-like carbon. It's a very, very hard coating with a very, very low coefficient of friction. So it's like glass. You put a little bit of oil on that, and it is extremely slick. Makes a very good bearing surface. This particular bearing bushing, it slips into the wheel, so it's not a press fit like the bronze. It slips into the wheel with a clearance, where and the wheel. Then we drive our standard 5/16 axle through the ID of the bushing. That's what holds it all in place. So when this is assembled in the lifter body, the only thing that's turning is the wheel, and it is floating on a high pressure wedge of oil between the OD of the bushing and the ID of the wheel. The wear on the bronze bushing we measure in thousandths of an inch. The wear comes from the bushing itself. The bronze copper alloy actually wears.
Yeah, it's a soft metal.
Softer, yes. On the DLC, the wear actually comes from the ID of the wheel. So it's a copper alloy wear versus a hardened steel wear. So the wear with the steel bushing is significantly slower than the wear with the bronze bushing.
Yeah. Well, I guess when they're calling it diamond-like, it has diamond-like hardness to be able to wear the steel.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So yeah, we're very we've used these just about every application out there. We sell a lot of these. Again, you'll find, I say it all the time, I'm not a big needle bearing fan. Our needle rollers that we use are as good as any's. If you're comfortable with the needle bearing, more power to you. If you can keep your valve train maintained, there's nothing wrong with needle rollers. The issue I have with needle rollers is that when something does go wrong, the needles turn into shrapnel, and the resulting damage of that shrapnel going through your motor is...
essentially what you're doing is paying for an insurance policy. Yeah. The chances of your needle bearing roller failing are very low, but if they do, it's an expensive problem.
Damage is
right. I mean, what's the point of price differential between the two variants? The three variants, rather.
So they go up in price. The needle bearing being our base level lifter. We can configure with the bronze bushing. It goes up a couple $100, and the steel bushing is another couple $100.
Right.
If you divide the longevity or performance of the three, I feel that the steel bushing is the best value. If you divide the number of miles or laps or passes by the cost of the lifter, we get significantly longer use out of the steel bushing than we do the bronze bushing or the needle rollers.
Right. Okay.
They can be a little finicky with oil, and so you have to have good maintenance when you're running the steel. But the bronze bushings are, we run these in a lot of dirt motors. They're a little more forgiving. I always call these the bronze the user-friendly bushing.
Right.
Anybody can, when you're refreshing a motor, you can pull the lifters out, fixture the lifter body, put an indicator on the wheel, pull up and down, measure the clearance or the wear, and make a determination whether they need to be sent back for a rebuild or a replacement. We tell people at 5 thousandths clearance slot play, that's the time to send them back. We've had them running with more clearance than that, but conservatively, at 5 thousandths clearance, it's going to feel pretty loose, and you're probably not going to like the way it feels, so you're probably going to send it back to us. The steel bushings, the wear is so minute, it's measured in tenths. We don't really know, I don't really have a standard clearance for when you need to send them back. We just say at whatever interval you feel comfortable, you can send them back to us, we can inspect them for you. It's generally just a visual inspection of the DLC surface to make sure the DLC is still intact. Again, needle bearing good, bronze better, steel bushing best, but they do go up in price. Again, I'm very fond of both of these bushings.
Yeah, but it comes down to there's a real value proposition. It's not just something that has no economic value.
For pure endurance, let's say, which I would call a street motor, a high performance street motor, we generally recommend the steel bushing just not right off the bat, just because it is going to go the furthest distance with the least amount of adjustments, i.e. your lash.
Right.